All right, let's dive into a book that truly changed the game for startups and entrepreneurs everywhere, Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. Today, we're going to unpack its biggest and sometimes pretty controversial ideas about what it really takes to build the future. So, let me start by asking you a question. When you think about massive companies like Google and Facebook, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Besides being tech giants, what is the secret ingredient they both share? I bet it's not what you think. And there it is. The answer is monopoly. Kind of sounds like a bad word, right? But the point is, they didn't just play the game better than their rivals. They created a whole new game where they were the only players. This one idea is at the very heart of 0 to 1. Now, to really get this, you have to understand Thiel's core idea about progress. See, he says there are two types. Going from 1 to n is basically horizontal progress. You take something that already works and you just make more of it. Think of it like copying. But going from 0 to 1, that's vertical progress. That's creating something brand new, out of nothing. That's true invention. So that's our mission in this explainer. We're going to bust the big myths that Thiel argues are holding people back from true innovation. We're going to talk about competition, about being first, and even about luck. First up, the myth of competition. Our culture, our schools, everything tells us that competition is good. It makes us stronger. But Thiel's take? It's pretty brutal. He basically says fighting for scraps is for losers. Let's dig into why. Just think about it for a second. When you're in a super competitive market, like say a bunch of pizza shops on the same street, your profits are razor thin, you're constantly obsessed with what the other guy is doing, your whole focus is just survival. But a creative monopoly, they have the profits, sure. But more importantly, they have the freedom to think long-term, to invest in crazy new ideas, and to actually focus on making things better, not just on beating the other guy. And we're not talking about old-school monopolies from the board game. We're talking about companies that created a category so unique and became so good at it that nobody else can even come close. I mean, Google isn't just a search engine. For most of us, it is search. Facebook isn't just a social network. It owns the map of our social lives. They escaped the fight. So the big takeaway here is this quote. If you're building something new, your job isn't to be the toughest person in a crowded room. Your job is to build a whole new room just for yourself. Okay, on to myth number 2, the first mover advantage. You hear this all the time, right? You gotta be first to market. Well, Thiel says, not so fast. He argues it's way better to be the last one standing. He calls this the last mover advantage. You know, the first person to try something new often gets all the arrows in their back. They have to teach customers what the product is, they make all their early mistakes, and then someone else comes along and does it better. The real goal isn't to be the first search engine, it's to be Google, the last one anyone really needs. It's such a simple shift in how you think, but it's profound. Don't just aim to get there first. Aim to build something so good, so dominant, that you're the final word on the subject. All right, myth number 3, and this one is all about your mindset. It's the myth of accidental success. We all love these stories about founders who just got lucky, right? But Thiel argues that thinking that way is a really dangerous trap. He says you can view the future in one of two ways. In an indefinite future, success is all about luck, it's random, it's just a guess. But in a definite future, success is something you can design. It's something you plan for with a crystal clear vision. The greatest founders don't just hope things work out. They have a concrete plan to make it happen. This quote says it all, doesn't it? Your life, your business, it's not a lottery ticket you're just hoping gets picked. It's a project. It's something you are meant to engineer. Success is a result of intentional design. So if it's not luck, how do you design this successful future? Well, it starts with a secret. Now, a secret in Thiel's world isn't some conspiracy. It's an important truth about the world that very few people have realized yet. I mean, think about it. The secret behind Airbnb was that millions of people would actually be willing to pay to sleep in a stranger's house. That sounded absolutely nuts at the time. Google's secret was that a smart algorithm could organize all the information in the world, and that you could build a massive business around it. Every truly great company is built on a secret like this. So now that we've busted the myths, what's the actual playbook? How do you really go out and build one of these 0 to 1 companies that's designed to last?
Well, Thiel lays out 4 key traits. You need a strong brand, that's number 1. Then you need powerful network effects, where your product gets more valuable the more people use it. You also have to engineer what are called high switching costs, so it's hard for customers to leave. And finally, you have to be able to achieve economies of scale.
But, and this is so important, a great product is not enough. The playbook really hammers home that the foundations are everything. You have to get the early stuff right, like who your co-founders are. You need to build a culture that's almost like a cult in its dedication. And you can never, ever forget that even the world's best product won't sell itself. So if we had to boil this entire book, this entire philosophy, down to a single sentence, it would be this. Stop looking at what everyone else is doing and trying to make a slightly better version. The real challenge and the real prize is in creating something truly fundamentally new.
And here it is, the quote that gives the book its title. It just perfectly sums up the whole idea. Copying what's already been done takes the world from 1 to N. But real creation, doing something for the very first time, that's how you go from 0 to 1. And that's where the future is actually built.
And that really leaves us with the final question, the one Thiel is really asking all of us. The next Bill Gates isn't going to build an operating system. The next Mark Zuckerberg isn't going to build a social network. So what's the important truth that you see that almost nobody else agrees with you on? What new thing will you build to go from 0 to 1?